Hello friends, welcome back in once again in the next lecture of the SWIFT series. So it's the second lecture of the generic series. So if you did not watch my previous lecture of the generic, I have given the link in the description box. So friend, in today's lecture we will discuss about what is generic types and how we can extend a generic type, and third, how we use type constant with generic types. So let's begin one by one. First is the generic types. So friend, in addition to generic functions, Swift enable you to define your own generic type. In our previous lecture, we have discussed how we can use multiple functions with a single generic function. So Swift enable you define your own generic type. These are custom classes, structure, enumeration, can work with any type in a similar way to array and dictionary. Like array and dictionary can work with any type like integer, string, float. So similarly, classes and structure enumeration can with any type with generics. So in this section we show how to write a generic collection type called stack. So stack is a ordered set of values similar to array but with a more restricted set of operations than Swift array type. So in data structure we have already read about the push and pop behavior for stack. So I think everybody is already familiar with push and pop behavior of a stack. So here diagram is showing that how the push and pop behavior for the stack is working. Suppose we want to add something, so the addition will always be performed on the top of the stack, and if you want to remove something from the stack, then the pop will always be performed on the top of the stack. Suppose here we are adding the four values on the stacks. So how stack strings look after pushing these four value onto the stack, when after the first value will be added, and how the second value, third value and fourth value will be added into the stack. So the values always added on the top of the stack, and here stack is showing that after popping its top value, then always operation of the pop will be performed on the top of the stack. So now let's begin with the practically how we can implement the stack in our application. So in our previous lecture we have used how we can use multiple function with generics. So here suppose I am implementing the stack, so I am taking here a struct integer type stack. I am taking here a var items is a integer type array. I am taking here, and suppose I am taking here a function for adding the number, so we can take name here push items. So item we are putting here in integer type. So suppose here we are adding an item, so we will add the item into the items array. Items dot append here an item, and here I am taking another function. So in the pop, suppose I am not adding any argument and not returning anything, simply we just remove the item from the array. So we just add here remove the last item from the stack. So here I have taken two functions, one for the pushing the item into the items array and the another removing the item from the items array. So the pop will remove the last item from the items array, and the push function will add the item on top of the array. Suppose here I am taking an object obj is equal to stack array. So here I am taking an object of the integer stack obj dot. So here we add the push item function and we'll add the value here. Suppose I am adding here 10. So now, and here I will print the items. So here I am passing a one argument 10, and suppose I am passing here another argument 20, and now I am running it. Yeah, so here in error message showing that a mark method mutating to make self mutable. So in the stack we cannot apply the operation without mutating, so we add the mutating here. So mutating is a keyword here. So now I will run it. Yeah, so here I am taking a array items directly, we cannot use like this. So for this I will take the object and here I will add the items array. So now I run it. Yeah, so you can check that items array is now showing two values because I am passing here the two values 10 and 20. So the push item function we are calling from here and passing two values. Suppose I am passing here 30, 40, and now I run it. Yeah, so now you can check that here we can add multiple values and push into the items array. So suppose I am want to remove anything from the array, so we just simply here add a pop item function. We just simply call the pop item function and it will remove the last item from the array. And after this if I call the items array, here we can add 2 and now I will run it. So you can think that what will be the result for it, because it will remove. Yeah, so you can expect that it's the expected result because the pop item is removing the last item from the items array. Here 40 is removed from this pop item function. So now the values of the item is 10, 20 and 30. So the purpose of this function is here we are using only the integer type value. Suppose I am want to add here a string type value. So can we add it here? If I comment this code and here I am trying to add a string and here I am adding Gyaan and now I run it. Yeah, so here an error message showing that cannot convert value of string to expected argument type. Here the argument type is int, but we are trying to sending here a string type value. So for this we need an another stack. We will take here in another stack for the solution of it. So suppose I am commenting this code here and I am taking a another stack. So it's a string type stack, str stack. We can take any name here. Suppose I am taking here an str stack and here I am passing string type value string here and I will pass here a string. So now the name of the stack is str stack. So here I am changing the name of the stack str stack. So you can expect that if I comment this code, so now it will work because now it's a string type stack. So you can check here the items is now showing two strings coding and Gyaan we are passing here and the function is adding here pushing two item into the items array. So suppose we want to another items like we want here adding a float type value, double type values, then here we need to add multiple structs for different structs for the integers, string, float and double type value. So for the solution of this problem we can use the concept of the generic, use generic function for the struct and class also. So suppose now here I am taking a generic type struct and this struct will work for all the string, integer and float type values. Suppose I am taking here a struct, or you can say here a stack. Name of the struct is type and here we will add, you can take here any name. Suppose I am taking here values and here The item is now the value type, and here replace the string with values. So now it's a generic type struct. So it's a generic type struct. So now I will try to send here the value of string. So I need here, first we add the name is now the stack, and here we add, if we are adding here a string type value, so simply we add here string, and now I try to run it. So check what will be the output for it. Yeah, so friend, you can check that now in the generic function, it's a generic function because we are not taking here any value type. It's just a values is a type, and we are passing the type from here. We are calling from here the name of the stack and passing here strings. So now the generic function will accept the value string type value. So now the array is showing string type array. Suppose I am want to take here integer type value. So I am commenting this code and uncomment this code here, and here I am passing a suppose int type value. So now run it. Yeah, so you can check that now the struct is working for the integer type value. Suppose here we want to take is float type value, so simply we add here, comment or copy this code and just add here a float type value. Suppose I am adding here 0 and here 30, and here simply we will add a float, and now run the program. Yeah, so now you can check that the function or the struct is working for the float type value. So it's a generic struct. We can pass here any type value. So it will work for all data types. So suppose we want to extend the generic type. So we just here add the extension like in the our class. So extension will be add here like this, and here we will take the name of the stack. Suppose here name is stack, so we will add here stack, and suppose here we want to add the items with the extension, so just we will copy it, and I am commenting this code here, and now I added the function into the extension, and now I try to run the code. Yeah, so you can check that the struct is working as a same because we need not to add here an extra argument for this extension. The same function is working in the extension like a simple extension. So suppose just we want to add here a pop function also. So we just copy this code here and we can add into the extension, then it will work from same as. Yeah, so it's working same as before extension it was working. So suppose I am not here using the pop function. Suppose I am pop the items here, and now the pop function will be called. Then you can expect that what will be the output for it. Yeah, so last item is removing because we are using here the pop item. So if we want to call the pop two times, then the two item will be removed from the array. Yeah, so now the array have the two items because we are calling here pop item two times, so two top item will be removed from the stack array. Next topic is type constant. How we use type constant with generics. So here is the syntax. Suppose you write type constant by placing a single class or protocol after a type parameter name separated by colon. So here T is the generic type, and here you can take any some class name and U colon some protocol name. So you can take here any class name and protocol name after colon. So how this functionality will be implemented, let's go to the code. Yeah, so suppose I am commenting this code here now, and we will implement how the generic type you can implement here. Suppose I am taking here a function and the function name here find index, and here I am taking a argument of string, and here I am taking and here suppose I am returning a integer type value. So here suppose I am taking here a for loop for, and here the array we are passing in the argument dot enumerated. So I have already created a separate lecture on the array and given the link in the description box. So in detail we will not discuss about the array here. So with the enumerated you can take here the index and value both. Suppose here I am taking the index and here we are taking value of the array. Suppose here I am comparing the value. So here is the index and here, so here we will compare the value of string. Of string is a keyword here, so value to find. So we will type here value find. So I am taking here value find. So if here value is find, then we will return here the index. Yeah, so if the value we are passing here in the argument, and if the value is not found here, we will return here a nil value. And we will call this function from outside. So I am taking here my strings, yeah, so here I am passing some string into the array. So it's a my string is a array, and now I will call the function my index. So here yeah, so here we will type, we are passing here a value. So now suppose I want to pass a string Xcode here and here into the complete array, and with the help of this function we will find the index of the Xcode. If the index is found, the value will be returned into the index found, and we will print here. So founded index is show here. Index found will be show into the index found variable, and if the index is not found, the else function will be call here and we will print here index not found. We'll show this message here. Yeah, so now I run the application. So I run it again. Yeah, so you can check that here index is found. So index found function is calling here because we are, so with the help of this function the Xcode index is 2. So it's the correct index because 0 1 2 Xcode index is 2 here, so it's printing here. So suppose I want to, so it's working fine for the string type value. Suppose here we want to pass a integer type value. Suppose I am taking here and commenting this code and passing here 100, 200, 300, and 400. So now it will work or not because it's an integer type array. So it's a string type function. So if you want to pass here integer type value, then we need to change here the type. We need to change here integer and arrays also. Will we pass here integer type? Then we can pass here the value of the integer type. So suppose I am changing this into the generic function. We create a function with a generic, so we add here angle bracket, and here you can take any alphabet. Suppose I am taking here T, so we will add here the value is also will be T here because the type we are passing here T, so it will be T here, and here the array type is also T. Yeah, so suppose I am passing here a string type array, so it will work for the string or not. So the problem is creating here. So now find index is a generic type function, but in Swift some operators does not support the generic types directly, because here if you want to pass here a string type data and another is a integer type, float type, so all type value some operators does not support in Swift. So for this we add some extra protocol. So we need here type constant. So for this we add here type constant. We will add here equitable protocol. So it's a predefined protocol, equitable, and with the help of this all the operators will work for string as well as with the integer and float type values. So now the error has gone and now I try to run it. So now it's a generic function and it's will work. Yeah, so now you can check that it's working with a string type values. Suppose I will try to pass here integer type value and passing here 400 and want to and try to find the index of the 400. Yeah, so now I try to run it. Yeah, so you can check that now the index of the 400 is showing here because 400 is in the array at the third index, and now the index of the 400 is showing here. So suppose here I can send the float type value also. Suppose I want to send here 0 0 and here 40. Yeah, so now it's a float type value and I try to find the index of this. Yeah, so you can check that the index is now showing 2 because the index of the 300.500 is 2, so it's showing here. So like this we can use the type constant in the generic function. So I think it will be the helpful. So if you like this video, please like, share and subscribe the channel. Thanks for the watching.